Weren't they good? They made me happy. I think I can make it alone. Oh, mercy, woman plays a song and no one listens. I need help, I'm falling again. Play the drum a little bit louder. Tell them they can live without her if they only listen to the band. Listen to the band. Now, weren't they good? They made me happy. I think I can make it alone. Oh, woman plays a song and no one listens. I need help, I'm falling again. Come on, play the drums just a little bit louder. Tell us we can live without her now that we have listened to the band.
Hey, gang, give us a 5x5 or give us your favorite gun caliber in the comments section. Let us know you can hear us, okay? And welcome to the Missouri Freedom Initiative, by the way.
Listen to the band.
Now, that was Michael Nesmith with the Monkees singing that song. That was a Monkees song. I was a big Monkees fan when I was a kid. Mike Nesmith passed away last year, so there's only one monkey left, and that's Mickey Dolenz. But I don't want to get sidetracked. Tonight, I want to talk about the national debt. I want to, for just a few seconds, and I'll get that out of the way right now. $36 trillion, $4 billion, gang. We finally hit the 36 trillion mark. For those of you waiting for this moment since last July when we hit the 35 billion mark, your time is here. So whether or not you're going to cry or to laugh hysterically or just rub your chin and go, I knew it, your moment is here, 36 trillion. And the number keeps going up. By the way, the federal spending actual is $7.2 trillion a year. So that means we have a $2.2 trillion deficit. That's $2.2 trillion extra dollars that have to be printed up basically to cover the spending of the federal government that doesn't really work a budget anymore. So at any rate, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and bring up the gang in Gilded. And in the gang tonight, we have Liberty Revolutionary, also known as Caleb. We have our good friend Shane in Wisconsin. Catherine Dreyer has joined us. And we also have Doug and Maya. And tonight we're going to have...
Hello, everyone.
Hey, great to have you here. This should be a fun one tonight because we're going to talk about something that we talk about all the time in the halls of Jefferson City, which is about leadership. Leadership in Jefferson City, the Republican Party, the HRCC, the House speakership, all of that is on the table tonight. And we're going to try and get it done in about an hour. I got to get up early in the morning. Hello to Misty Atkinson. Isaac has joined us, also known as Guitar Authority. We have Agorizer with us. Kristen Halftrack is with us. Hey there, Kristen. Let's see. Voodoo Queen is with us. We've got John Doe with us. And that's just on the YouTube side. And go over to the Rumble side. Hello to Morkster and B. Hoffner. I remember meeting B. Hoffner. I think that's up in Jeff City. And let's see if we have anyone following on Odyssey. Warrior Class says he's following us, but the volume is a little low. That was just on the music side. Hopefully you can hear us okay on the audio side. As we start delving into something, I want to start us out by talking about the race for the House speakership in Missouri for 2025 and 2026. The presumed speaker is John Patterson, who was elected in some kind of Fox election roughly 18 months ago. 18 months before he would take the role, apparently. And that's basically for continuity for corporations, so they know who's PAC to put money into. That's why they do it as early as they do. And I'm not joking, by the way. But I want to read a little something here from the Shield Maidens of Missouri before we get started here. So what I'm about to read came in an email, and that was, I think, dated a couple of days ago, so that might have been on Thursday. And basically, they're talking a little bit about John Patterson and some of the things that he has distinguished himself with in the General Assembly. So let me start there. Number one, John Patterson was the only Republican state rep to vote against IP reform. He stood in the way as leadership to pass any reform in 2023 and 2024. So therefore, we get Amendment 3. Okay, number two. John Patterson was one of only two Republicans in the House to vote against the SAFE Act, mutilating kids and chemically castrating them, basically so they can change their gender. Number three, John Patterson helped craft the 4-year sunsets in the laws for the SAFE Act, which he voted against, and the Men and Women's Sports Act. When he terms out, those laws will go away with him. So, incidentally, that's kind of the way it was set up. Number four, John Patterson went on record, video of him below in his own words, which I can't show. I'll try to do it, to make Amendment 3 the law of the land, and proudly pledged at a Chamber of Commerce event in Kansas City that the House would respect the outcome of Amendment 3 on the ballot, meaning if he is the Speaker, that no legislation will be allowed from the House to touch the abortion issue in Missouri. So that means absolutely no legislative cures for Amendment 3, or at the very least taking the sting out of it while he is Speaker. Number five, John Patterson has gone on record in U.S. News stating that if an individual did not take the COVID vaccine, they should not be considered for medical procedures such as organ transplants. So he's got that one under his belt, too. Number six, John Patterson has proven to be a true obstructionist when it comes to solidifying good gun legislation in Missouri. I actually have a story about that, personal, firsthand. Number seven, John Patterson refused to endorse Donald J. Trump for president when asked to join his peers in the public endorsement, and the link is provided on that as well. This is all backed up stuff. This is from Shield Maidens of Missouri. That would be our very good friend Lisa Panette and Stacy Shore. That's it. Okay. I'm horrible with names. I think I did a pretty good job on that. So salute to you two ladies. I didn't mangle your names, I hope. But I want to thank you for providing this information tonight, because it's part of what we're talking about tonight. And I'm going to give you a quick announcement. Sam is also with us tonight. He's on with us via phone. Sam will be interviewing Justin Sparks tomorrow night at 6 p.m. on Missouri Liberty Radio on his signature program, Off the Cuff. It's a live call-in program, as you all know. So basically, Justin can give his platform, basically what he wants to do, what changes he wants to make. And we'd be remiss if we didn't go into the HRCC tonight as well. But I think I've taken enough soapbox time. I think we can start a general discussion. So those of you who want to start a discussion about this coming up here, please do. If you've got stories about John or about Justin, that's fine too. We'll do both of those. But the important thing to understand here is this is really kind of, in my mind anyway, this is kind of an epic battle, because this isn't Justin Sparks taking on John Patterson for the speakership. This is Justin Sparks taking on the HRCC. That's exactly what's going on here, gang. So we could, talking about the HRCC and the envelope game they love to play. All of us here know that. But let me tell you a little bit more about it. And in fact, that's something that Justin will probably talk about tomorrow night. The envelope game is this. If you get elected as a brand new representative in the state of Missouri, and you go in for orientation, and you go in to pick out which office is yours based on, the ranking, that they do there, how long you've been there, and this and that and the other thing. One of the things that happens to you is a sealed envelope is put on your desk. And you just go in your office and boom, there's a sealed envelope in your desk. You open it up and in there is a small piece of paper with a number written on it. That number is the recommended donation you are supposed to make to the HRCC, and that's the House Republican Campaign Committee. And they use that money to go against those who don't agree with the HRCC or rock the HRCC boat by talking about the things that they do in the HRCC. Now, we'll go into further detail in this program, even though we're going to try and keep it short tonight, what they do with that money specifically. That's the fascinating thing. So if Justin Sparks was sitting, brand new legislator, and he goes and sits at his desk and he sees the envelope and opens it up and sees $20,000 written on a piece of paper in the envelope, that's the expected donation from Justin Sparks to the HRCC, so they will leave him alone. It's not like a frat house up there in this way, gang. It's more like a mafia. It's the price for protection so that the Republican Party will not oust you or support anyone who's primarying you whenever you run again. So, and Gary Ride has joined us too. Hey there, Gary. Good to see you, buddy. So that's what the HRCC is. It's mafia. It's mafia-style tactics used by the Republican Party, and what they get with it is rhinos and corporatists, because those are the ones who are running the HRCC. See how that works, gang? Everyone wonders, how do we get so many rhinos? How do we get so many corporatists in the Republican Party in Missouri? The HRCC creates them because the HRCC is, in fact, run by corporations and partnered with corporations to actually make sure that legislation gets done that benefits them. And that's kind of what they do. Now, if anyone has any extra comment on the HRCC, please bring it up at any time in the comment section or what have you, and we'll be happy to discuss that. But that's what Justin Sparks is doing. That takes a lot of courage, gang. From a guy who has gone up to Jefferson City quite a bit in the last 5 years, I got to tell you, Justin is courageous for what he's doing. Now, does that mean we know all of his motives and what he wants to do and what? No, that's what the interview tomorrow night with Sam Britton on Off the Cuff on Missouri Liberty Radio is all about. That's a chance for him to tell everybody what his platform is, what his plans are, what his intentions are. But I'm sure he's going to say that we have to break the back of this extortion from the HRCC, from the newly elected people, so that they're literally not I don't know the proper word to use for it, but basically the HRCC is kind of like a warm blanket for them. Give the donation that they expect, and they will protect you, and they won't run anyone against you next time you run for office. So if you don't play with the HRCC properly, they will, in fact, find someone to run against you. So that's a terrible way to actually run a government, but that's actually what's happening here. Do the Democrats have something like this? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've not heard any stories about it. Okay.
Based on what they did to Unsicker, I'm going to assume they probably do.
Yeah. And Unsicker was severely punished for talking to someone in her. And by the way, that's a great story. Thank you for bringing that up. She went and met with someone in her district that asked to meet with her for lunch or for coffee or something, and just to meet with them and find out what their concerns are. And apparently that person was loosely associated with some kind of KKK or white supremacy group.
Well, that was the claim anyway.
That was the claim.
Kind of a,
yeah.
I'm sure it was some based off of some tattoo or something like that. That was, I don't remember, but it was something tiny that, the ADL associated with. Therefore, automatically you're associated.
Yeah, and then she was canceled by the Democratic Party. They took her out of her office and put her in a closet. They didn't let her have any say. Basically she, and that's another thing too, is the Democrats do cancel a lot of people, within their ranks. And the one I miss the most is Aunt Jemima. I absolutely, and by the way, this is not an advertisement for Aunt Jemima or Aunt Jemima products, but I got the pancake mix from Aunt Jemima was hard to beat. It was not to mention the syrup. So the Democrats canceled my pancakes and syrup. So I'm generally pretty angry most of the time. That, by the way, that was a way of me of trying to, break the ice and be funny.
Yeah.
And apparently my sense of humor is really dry. Hang on a second here. I need a drink of water.
I knew where you were going with that, but
Can you hear me?
Hey, that's
Yep,
Catherine. Hey there.
Hey. Okay, so my memory could serve me wrong, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll just start with that. But there was a point when Kirby and we were digging into the HRCC a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you recall back in December of 2023, I had to pull this up again, that John Patterson, he announced that their longtime HRCC advisor, Johnathan Ratliff, would transition from his role as executive director to a senior consultant. Now, so Johnathan Ratliff was the executive director for the HRCC.
Mm-hmm.
Johnathan Ratliff, now he's pulled his name as a lobbyist. You don't see it now. Now it's, was it John Dykehouse or something? But he was also a lobbyist and partnered with Palm Strategic, which was not only a lobbying organization, but they also worked on a lot of campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time when we were digging into HRCC money, and again, my memory could be off, but it's like the HRCC would have all their little initiation rituals or whatever you want to call it.
Whatever they call them.
And guess who they paid to organize those? Palm Strategic. So you have the executive at the time, Johnathan Ratliff was the executive director of the HRCC, and he was getting paid as Palm Strategic to organize their HRCC, event, so to speak, for the incoming freshmen. So huge conflict of interest in there. So anyway.
conflict of interest, what's that?
Right?
Yeah, Missouri,
I could be wrong on this as well. I need to dig into it again, but I think Ratliff is in Patterson's office now. I need to look into that.
Hanging out with Patterson, the man himself, huh?
Yeah. So again, this was kind of from digging into things last year, so I haven't really stayed up to date. But yeah, there's a lot of, it's a very tight knit. Yeah, it is like a mafia.
It is. Oh, it really is. It runs identical to the mafia.
Yeah, it's been described to us before as kind of a frat organization, kind of a frat house kind of. Or that's not accurate. I mean, the extortion they use is mafia level stuff. The frat stuff don't extort you like that.
Yeah, see, frat is hazing for fun. This is extortion for gain.
Yeah, and
little different.
And I think, because I did text my state rep, and evidently I found out from somebody after the fact, because I asked, I told him all my reasons why I didn't think he should vote for Patterson and why he should vote for Representative Sparks instead. And I kind of got I'll thank you. What was it? Thank you for your recommendation. And then I found out from another person who also has Representative Perkins as their state rep that he didn't know at the time that I sent my text that Sparks was even running against Patterson. So some of them, this is early news for, like they thought Patterson was just a done deal. And I just think as we're contacting our state reps, we really want to put the pressure on them, but I imagine the pressure that they're getting from the HRCC and Patterson has got to be so much worse because we know the bullying that goes on and the threatening that goes on.
And that's precisely, and by the way, Kristen Halftrack wants to echo what you said by saying Josh Lehman was connecting these dots the other night too. Catherine is spot on. And the point is this, is basically Catherine and others have literally come to the crux of the matter years ago, and that's the HRCC. So the HRCC supports people that are corporatists. Now, I know there might be some talk, and Johnathan Patterson, by the way, I want to say, has been very, very cordial with me. that is when he keeps his meetings. There's been several times I've driven up to Jeff City 2 hours and 45 minutes for a meeting with Patterson, wait in his office for half an hour only for him to cancel. And that really pisses me off when he does that. I'm very upset with him when he does that. Plocker's done that to me too, by the way. So that's a reoccurring theme. I wish we could just meet on the phone, so I don't have to drive that and spend all the gas money only for them to cancel a meeting. But the HRCC is the crux of the matter here. It's really not even Patterson. And I can prove it. And that is in the House rules. The House rules is really what we need change. And I'll bet you my bottom dollar, Justin Sparks, when he is interviewed tomorrow night, he's going to talk about the House rules and how unfair they are and how every 2 years there's a new set of House rules that takes more power away from the reps and concentrates that power in leadership, i.e. the House Speaker. And it just every single 2 years it's a little bit worse. We have to reverse that. We must reverse it. And the HRCC is the power behind getting this stuff done. So HRCC is backing Patterson, obviously. They won't back Justin. Who's going to back Justin is the grassroots. It's the grassroots against the HRCC. And with all the research Catherine and others have done on the HRCC, we should be screaming at the top of our lungs. We have an opportunity here to expose the HRCC and to change the House rules, and we should take it. I'm sorry, I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah, I was just real quick going to add, this happened back in January 2nd of this year, that so they removed Johnathan Ratliff as the executive director and replaced him with, her name is Hannah Beer Sutton. So she is now the executive director of the HRCC. She came from Axiom Strategies.
Of course.
That should, yes, I see your face. That should make you cringe. Yes, Axiom Strategies. They are known for just being, they're another one that candidates hire to handle their campaigns for them, and they're bullies as well. I have never heard anything good about Axiom Strategies. So that is who replaced Johnathan Ratliff, is Hannah Beer Sutton. She's now the executive director of HRCC, and she used to be vice president of Clout Public Affairs, a subsidiary of Strategies.
Yeah, that just makes sense. Because while you were saying this, I was thinking, every 2 years we go through this process where the HRCC terrorizes all freshman representatives coming in, and it starts the extortion process. And we need to warn these people in advance, but I think that envelope period is already passed. We should ask Justin about that tomorrow night. I think that envelope period happens during orientation, which I believe has begun already. So orientation.
I think some of them have already been offered. I don't know this for sure, and I haven't asked Representative Perkins, but the other person I was talking to, when he had talked to Perkins months ago, said he was like going to vote for Patterson, but then turned out later he found out Sparks was running. But anyway, that Representative Perkins has already been offered pro tem.
Mm-hmm.
So these deals are already starting to go around.
Yep. And it's that's another thing too, gang. I mean, at the end of this, what you have to do is obvious, but we don't have the data yet. We're getting the data, and we'll have it within a few days. And I've already talked to my webmaster. As soon as we have it, it'll be on the website. And what that data is all the names, telephone numbers, and email addresses of all the reps, including the new ones who have just been elected, minusing the old ones that will not be voting in January. Those that are still reps now, but their term is actually over in January 1st, I believe. And then that's when the new term begins for the new guys. We have to call these folks, and it's not necessarily voting against Patterson. It's voting against the HRCC, and Patterson won't do anything about the HRCC. He is a part of that system. He is a cog in the machine of the HRCC. As Catherine pointed out, the HRCC invariably has a desk in Patterson's office at this point, in the speaker's office. That's how bad this is, gang. So when you are talking to your reps, there's a lot of things you can say about why you would ask your rep to vote for Justin Sparks rather than Patterson. But it's not really about Patterson per se. It's about finally changing the House rules and getting rid of the HRCC, or at least getting them under control, putting them on some kind of leash. And that's one of the important things that we had to get away, from for just a second of our normal discussion here, because a lot of people don't watch to the end. You need to contact your reps and let them know who you want to be the House Speaker. Now, they will vote independently, obviously, and it has nothing to do with a ballot that you would see at your polling station. This is an internal vote that will happen once session has begun. So this happens in January. We have time, folks. We have time, the luxury of 6 weeks of time to call all of our reps and let them know who you want to be the Speaker of the House. Do you want Patterson? And I read all the things about Patterson before. I have personal stories about Patterson, by the way. We'll get into those in a little bit. Or do you want Sparks, who is Freedom Caucus? And now Sparks is somewhat of an unknown commodity to those who have been, basically in Missouri politics for a while, because he's only been a rep for 2 years. But he has taken some bold moves in those 2 years. And this move that he is taking right now, throwing his hat into the ring to be House Speaker, especially at this late hour, is, basically this is big news in Missouri. The status quo is being challenged. And so, and if you want to say, and by the way, I'm not going to support people calling Patterson a communist, necessarily, or a Democrat, or this or that, the other thing. But some people put up here, Kristen said, and by the way, reading from the YouTube, Kristen Halftrack says, change the rules and every rep gets their power back, Republican and Democrat. I wouldn't be surprised if Sparks has support from both sides of the aisle. Kristen, I pray you are right here, because I have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of folks on the left side of the aisle actually like Patterson, because Patterson, tends to lean their way quite a bit. So I meant that, and also so did Blocker. So at any rate, but that is a realistic point of view that we have to look at, is maybe there is appeal from both sides of the aisle if the HRCC is, somehow reined in and the reps get their power back by a House rules change. This is big. This is how basically the people start winning again. We can actually start getting legislation through again. I want to say one more thing I put in my newsletter. Patterson was definitely complicit in stopping gold and silver legislation from going on the floor. Was he in control of that situation? I don't think he controlled it, but he was definitely complicit. So I want to remind folks about that. So at any rate, let's see, Tom Martz. Patrick, in 2023, Sparks scored a 63 and Patterson scored a 40 out of a possible 165 votes. Wow. Interesting. How about 2024, Tom? Do you have the numbers from 2024? That just bowled me over. I did not expect that. I did text Tom a while back, curious about these scores. So I'm glad he is actually providing them. So all of us can see what the scores are. And we're talking about constitutional votes. So basically, Tom is scoring them based on their constitutionality. And Sparks scored 63, and Patterson scored 40. So out of what really bowled me over was out of the 165. I didn't expect them to be that low. Patterson is obviously lower than Sparks. But I'm curious if we have, not yet. I just caught up to that text. Okay, gotcha. Okay, he doesn't have the 2024 numbers yet. Okay, gotcha. Sure, if it's possible for you to get those 2024 numbers done before January 1st, Tom, I think a lot of people would really appreciate that. Some people vote just on that number alone. John Wick says, is Sparks late in his bid for Speaker? No, he is not late. Should he have done this before the campaign season and been assisting members across the state with their campaigns? Well, technically, if he was thinking about it all the way back then, I suspect he probably wasn't thinking about it until very recently. There's probably some. In fact, that'd be a good question for him on the live interview tomorrow night on Missouri Liberty Radio. If you're not in Owensville, just bring up a browser and type in molibertyradio.us. That'll take you right to Sam's streaming site so you can listen at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Sparks will be live on the air with Sam, I believe, for 1 hour from 6 until 7 p.m. But, looking at all the data is what we do. And so that's what we need to find out. Basically, Sparks scored higher. So Sparks is a more constitutional voter than Patterson. So we got that much. We know what Sparks has done in the past. If anyone has any stories about, I'm sorry, not Sparks, but Patterson. Anyone has any stories about Patterson, feel free to bring them up. But I'm going to bring up one real quick, and this is from 2020. Now, if I remember right, Patterson was elected in 2018. Someone can, fact check me on that, but I think that's right. And in 2020, I was in his office, and this was in late February. I think that's right, late February of 2020, and it was about the Second Amendment Preservation Act. I was trying to get him to co-sponsor. He refused to co-sponsor SEPA, but he did say, he goes, if it goes to the floor, I will vote yes, but I won't co-sponsor it. And I asked him why he wouldn't co-sponsor. He didn't give me a very good answer. And I talked about, and once again, guys, you have to remember, this is February of 2020. And I did talk to Patterson and said, there's a really good chance Joe Biden is going to get elected and the economy will take a downturn. Basically, these things are things you should probably try and start factoring in when it comes to legislation. We need to start protecting ourselves here in the state of Missouri. And he rolled his eyes at me. So I remember that very well. Patterson rolled his eyes at me. So that means, by the way, am I just this awesome thinker or with this crystal ball or psychic ability? No. I presented a possibility to Patterson, and that possibility ended up becoming the truth. Patterson saw me as some weird tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist when I presented those to him. And so that's why he rolled his eyes at me. So that's a story I have about meeting with Patterson. I told you about another time where I drove up to Jefferson City and to meet with Patterson for a scheduled meeting, and he canceled on me after I was waiting in his office for half an hour. So those are the two stories I have about Patterson. Obviously, they're not the best stories, and they don't portray him very well. I'm sure others may have stories that are great. In fact, I do have another story about Patterson. Actually, this one's kind of funny. This was in 2023, and I caught Patterson in the hallway in Jefferson City and stopped him and talked to him for a little bit, and then basically asked him what he thinks of the silver and gold legislation that was going through the system at that time. And so at any rate, he just looked at me and smiled and started walking away, and he was singing. In fact, I think you were with me, Caleb, and he just started singing silver and gold as he was walking down the hallway away from us.
The thing is about Patterson. I mean, I really wouldn't expect much different from someone like him, but he tends to be the type that'll either brush you off or actually turn it into something about trying to make fun of you almost.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
That's exactly what it was. I watched that. That's exactly what that was.
Okay.
He was, as the British would say, taking the piss.
Gotcha. Okay, I just put up the website where Justin Sparks will be live for 1 hour of interview with Sam Britton tomorrow night. That's molibertyradio.us. I just put it on the YouTube chat. He's partnered with the Missouri Freedom Initiative. You'll find him right down in the description section of every video on every platform, with the exception of Twitter because they don't allow for that sort of thing. But it is on Odyssey, YouTube, and Rumble. If you just look in the description section of the video, you will find that same website. John Wick says, I've spoken to several reps who support Patterson because he's very active supporting others with campaigns. Patterson built support. I urge them to support Sparks. So John Wick, of course, says, yes, I like gold. So that's the thing. Patterson has a built-in support base right now, probably with Democrats as much as he does with the rhinos and the corporatists with the Republicans. But the thing is, gang, this battle is between the HRCC and the grassroots. If you really look at it clinically, that's what is about to happen right now, is a battle between the grassroots and who they want as the Speaker of the House versus the HRCC and who they want as Speaker of the House. That's what you're about to experience here. Go ahead.
In other words, us versus them.
Yeah, that's right. And what time tomorrow will Justin Sparks be live? That's at 6 p.m. Central Time. 6 p.m. on the website that I put there, molibertyradio.us. So at any rate, we have confirmation already that Justin Sparks will be there. He's looking forward to taking your phone calls. So he wants to explain why he wants to go for Speaker of the House position. I know several conservative members who support Patterson because they feel Sparks stepped up too late. Well, it may be, from their point of view, he stepped up too late, but there's probably, by the way, there's no rule saying that he couldn't. So actually,
it sounds like an excuse.
Yeah, it sounds like an excuse to me because actually someone could step in 1 week before session starts, technically, and throw their hat in the ring for Speaker. That's still not too late. So they feel Sparks stepped in too late is really a very, very, very poor excuse because for the people who work in the House of Representatives, they know both men. They know Patterson and they know Sparks. They may love Patterson and they may hate Sparks or vice versa, but the fact of the matter is they know who both men are and they probably have a really good feel for the way they would actually run the House. The real prize here, the trophy at the end of all of this is the House rules package, any way you slice it. Even if Patterson becomes, and by the way, right now the odds are definitely in Patterson's favor. There is no doubt about that. But the grassroots haven't really spoken yet. When the grassroots start speaking, maybe those numbers will change a bit. Kristen says, since Sparks' campaign is launched, many of the swamp reps have had the same talking points, almost like it's being written for them. Many of them ask, what has Sparks done for the party? So, yep, that sounds like yet another excuse.
That specific phrasing put together. What has he done for the party?
What has he done for the party?
What has he done for the party? Boy, doesn't that just sound 1984-esque?
Yeah, it does. It does.
What has he done for the party?
Yep. And so what has he done for the party is probably very little because he's Freedom Caucus. And Freedom Caucus is kind of like a faction within the Conservative Party that are actually conservative. Or at least they portray themselves to be conservative. So at any rate, that's kind of the insight we have here.
I would, hey, sorry.
Go ahead.
I would take that script and flip it.
Yeah.
And say, well, what has Representative Patterson done against the party? And that was one of the points that I made when I messaged my state rep. I just, said based on the voting records and comments made by both representatives, I believe Representative Sparks more represents the values of pro-life and the protection of children as declared in the Missouri Republican platform.
That's right.
And that's the sort of leadership we need in the House moving forward. And especially just coming off of this election where abortion and pro-life were huge issues, I think pointing out Patterson's stances against life, against protecting children, it goes, just against what we, against the Republican Party platform and what we believe. And is that really, what sort of bills is he going to allow and not allow to go through when it comes to the protection of life and the protection of children?
Actually, that's a great point because, in fact, I did see someone a while back here in the comment section actually saying they would like the points from the Shield Maiden sent in an email. I'll tell you what, gang, that was a good point too, because that actually went right into what Catherine was saying. All these things are going full circle. Patterson has not been a very good Republican, at least not a very good conservative. So, I mean, this is just a fact. All of us who are active, with Missouri politics know this. So I will go ahead and do that. I'll make sure that happens here in the next day or so. Particularly when we have the list of names and email addresses and telephone numbers that are being worked on right now as we speak, including all the brand new elected freshmen in the House. And I think I'll put together a big email, basically with that information plus the contact information for all the representatives. So the reason why that's a big job is because there's 55 freshmen for the House of Representatives. If I've got my numbers right, I'm almost positive it's 55. That means there's 55 people who are not actually listed on the official Missouri House of Representatives website that are incoming representatives. When we have something we need to talk to them about before session starts, I have in the past, the last 2 cycles, created a list, and it's a time-consuming job, going through the Secretary of State's website, getting the names of every person who won every single district, and then the Secretary of State's website has an email address and telephone number. I'd include it, or in most cases, I had to go and get it off of Facebook, because a lot of them were campaigning just on Facebook. But they did have a website, they did have a telephone number, they did have an email address, and then I would find out who won and then go get that information from Facebook and then compile it for the grassroots. In this time, thank goodness, someone else has taken on that job, because it takes about 2 days for me to get that done. There's probably people that are faster at it than I am. But 55 people with brand new information takes time. So Tom Mart says, perhaps the rank and file membership of the people, need to question those elected with the party platform. Heck, I'm more R than 99% of them. And also, Tom says, and I do not consider myself a Republican. We're talking about conservatives versus Republicans in this point. And yes, that's the point, Tom. We can split hairs on this. Basically, there's a lot of people that run with the R after their name. But most people would say Patterson acts more like a D than he does an R. And that's true in his pro-life stance, his Second Amendment stance, transgendering kids stance. He's all really on the Democratic side of all those stances. But I have heard, yes, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and check out of here. It's after 8 o'clock, but anyway, looking forward to seeing anybody that can make it onto the broadcast tomorrow night. So just want to mention that Justin Sparks will be with us tomorrow. Welcome all to participate in the broadcast, and look forward to having you.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Sam.
You bet. God bless y'all.
God bless you too, man.
Good night, Sam.
Yeah. And so
good night, everyone.
Good night, buddy. Gabriel says, oh, this is live. Yes, this is very much live right now as we speak. So we do the live streams on Saturday nights. I haven't done a pre-recorded video, M. Gabriel, in so long, I can't remember. Maybe some shorts, 6 months ago. But I don't do standalone videos very much anymore. I just don't have time for them, really. And there's no editing when you do a live. So when it's over, and what you got in the can, you got in the can.
Saves a lot of time.
Sure, it saves a lot of time.
A lot of time.
So at any rate, that's kind of our message for tonight, is to get you guys primed and thinking about this. We'll get the information to you within a week. And our website will be updated at that time too, with the information for email addresses and telephone numbers for those, if we got them anyway. An email address is good enough, but we would like to get phone numbers if we can. Here's the deal. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to tell you who my rep is. He's a great guy. His name is Bob Titus. And I will be calling him, and I will be emailing him, asking him to support Justin Sparks. I'm going to do it both ways. And this way is because sometimes when you call, they don't take notes when you call. But an email is an excellent way to remind them that you called and what you talked about. So it's usually always a phone call first. And right when I'm done with that phone call, I'm shooting out an email to him. Hey, just to remind you, we talked about Justin Sparks. I want you to support him, basically for the speakership. That's the way I would handle this.
You can sunshine the emails.
Oh, you can. Absolutely, you can. And in fact, we probably should do that more, but they like to charge for that. A lot of them do. But yeah, that's a good point. We could actually sunshine request emails. But I would like encourage anyone here, Catherine. Oh, by the way, Maya and Doug are with us, and I think they have a special hello to say to someone out there. So go ahead, guys.
Hey, we just wanted to congratulate Representative Durnell. She won in the 154th district. She's not our rep, but she is a personal friend. I think she'll be a great rep for the freedom movement in Missouri. And she shot a very nice 8-point buck today.
Yeah, gotcha.
Very nice.
And Lisa, I would also like to say congratulations, and we look forward to working with you. You'll see us up in Jefferson City quite a bit. We're the people that show up with like 30 or 35 people that walk together in a large group up in Jeff City. The Missouri Freedom Initiative.
Can't wait to see her up there at Jeff City. I'm so excited.
You betcha. In fact, you know what? If you got, I got a
Oh.
question, Catherine. Let me ask Catherine a question. If you got a personal friend that wins a House rep position, do you bring them a housewarming gift to their office? Is that kind of how that works?
If you have a personal friend,
Yeah.
well, I get, as long as it's not seen as a bribe.
Okay. Well, I'm talking like a plant.
Maybe you shouldn't take it to the Capitol. Maybe take it to their house.
Okay, gotcha. I was thinking like a cactus or an easy to take care of plant. I wasn't thinking about an envelope.
I don't know. I mean, if they don't report that, we've got Plocker all over again. So
okay, gotcha. If
you might want to take it to their house.
Yeah, if you got an envelope full of cash or a cactus, bring it to their house and tell them they can bring it up to the office and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't want to get her in trouble.
Remember the Goldbacks? I mean, come on.
Yes. Holy mackerel, that was stupid. Oh, they had to investigate the Missouri Freedom Initiative.
That's right.
Yeah, because there was a House rep that claimed that we were trying to buy votes or to buy representatives in the House with Goldbacks that were worth $4.44.
That's right.
These are the same guys that are taking $10,000 at a time in their packs. Yep. It's like handing them a Coke. Right out of the Coke machine downstairs. Oh, I can't take that. I can't take that. That
you've paid for, that our tax dollars already paid for.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
If a single Goldback will buy them, they're a cheap date.
Yep. Tom Mart says, make sure the exchange isn't videotaped. That's good advice right there. You definitely don't want cameras around. Markster had a question. Do they get a renewal envelope when they get reelected? And I do believe the answer to that is yes. They do get it's kind of like a magazine subscription when you join the HRCC. It's, something that you kind of look forward to when you first started it. But after you've been getting the issues coming in the mail for several months in a row, you don't even read them anymore. They end up on the coffee table, and then you just end up throwing them away. So I don't know why I went down that. It seems like a really stupid kind of simile, for that. But at the same time, I thought it might have been funny and very dry humor. I'm going to take another drink of water.
I'm cackling. I just didn't have my mute on. I had my mute on.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of the way I would look at, the HRCC is kind of like a magazine subscription to a terrible magazine like People Magazine. And that's pretty much all it's really worth. And once again, it's just extortion. I mean, I don't know that there's any benefits to being in the HRCC club. It's not like you get a jelly of the month delivered to your office or anything. But what they will do
that's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the jelly of the month club is where it's at. I mean, seriously, if you're going to join a club. And so at any rate, I can just hear all the women who are in the book of the month club, it's going, oh my gosh, we could have been getting jelly this whole time. And that is right. So, and by the way, Book of the Month Club, is that even a thing anymore since Oprah shut down her show? I mean, is anyone reading anymore? I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
You know where that Jelly of the Month Club thing, you've got to know where that reference came from when she said Clark afterwards, right?
Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Okay. Wanted to make sure you got that one.
Oh, yeah, I did indeed. But I do believe they do get a renewal envelope every 2 years. It's just extortion is all it is. If you give us this money, we will not run someone against you in your next primary. That's pretty much what it is. And yes, they don't even get a jar of jelly every month. You know what? Maybe, and someone actually wrote something, can we write a bill to get rid of the HRCC? But that's not put together by the Assembly. So I'm not sure you can actually do a bill to get rid of it. But I would recommend the HRCC offering something like at least a jar of jam or jelly every month to everyone who actually gives them those big, strokes out those big checks that they request. Give them some value besides just extortion and a promise, for, mafia-like protection, for their next election. Give them something else, too. Give them a magazine. Give them, a jar of jelly or something. Go to Brahms and get jelly for them there. It's got a handle on it, and when you're done using the jelly, it makes a great drinking cup. So there's.
Do you think Plocker's bar at the Capitol, his little
Speakeasy?
drinking lounge, is still there? Maybe that's what you get access to.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Oh,
yeah.
I wonder if he passes that on to the next House leader.
Yeah. But the HRCC does have a secret handshake. We do have people on the inside learning the handshake right now, so we can give you more information after the session begins. So,
excellent.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a secret handshake, and that's all I've heard. So, like I said, we got people on it. I meant, OMG, look out. The Missouri Freedom Initiative is here. So, let's see. Morkster says, is this election just for speaker just amongst the Republican reps, or does it include all of them, including Dems? It includes all of them, even the Dems. So, actually, the Dems will be involved in this process as well. So, and that shouldn't really surprise us horribly. The Dems do like Patterson. I suspect they do like Patterson because of his voting habits in the past. He tends to vote closer to Democrat than he does to Republican. So I think for that reason, we should be just a tad worried. So thank you for your questions, Morkster. And hello to B. Hoffner from Perryville, by the way. Okay, back on the chat on the YouTube side. Oh, M. Gabriel said I was going to put in a pool. Let's see. So whatever that is referring to. Oh, put in a pool. That's Christmas vacation as well. That's where all the money he was getting, his bonus money. Okay, guys, I'm on top of it tonight. I'm not as stupid as I normally am.
I can't swim, Clark. I know that, Eddie. Sorry. Look the whole movie. I will stop now.
Hey, it's all fun and games until the NYPD busts in your house.
Yeah, that's right.
Rappelling down from the roof.
I know, killing your squirrels and your raccoons. Jeez. Let's see. John Doe says a shout out to Rep Darnell, who is listening. All right, good deal. Hey to Lisa Darnell. Congratulations on your election once again. Look forward to working with you. Let's see. Terry Bell says, my rep says money from the HRCC goes to conservative candidates in Dem areas. Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what they do with the money. We're gonna weave a tale for you. I'm sure that's what they say, but is that where the money goes? I'm not really sure that that's the case. So that sounds good. It sounds like a great story.
Wait, I missed. What was that comment?
My rep says the money from the HRCC goes to conservative candidates in Dem areas. If that's the case, they've not been doing a very good job, particularly in the last 10 years. But I don't think that's true. I think they knock out the true conservatives. Go ahead.
Conservative candidates in Dem areas. That's how Patterson got in.
Yep. Yeah. So the Patterson is extremely conservative.
Oh yeah.
I just winked, by the way, for those of you listening on radio. So let's see. Voodoo Queen had said something earlier. Gosh darn it, Voodoo Queen. There was a lot of stuff that flew by me. Can we get a bill to abolish the HRCC? That's what she had said, that I was mentally linked. I got to get back to Voodoo on that. I don't think we can. Yeah. Okay. So, but at any rate, that's kind of a preliminary report on this. We're at the beginning stages of this. So basically, Sparks has 6 weeks, basically of grassroots, either supporting him or not supporting him. A lot of people ask me, well, Pat, what are you doing? I really do like Sparks. Has he been a perfect politician? Has he been a perfect conservative? No, he has not. But he is a lot better than Patterson in his votes, and also in his attitude with dealing with the constituency. So
Yeah, that's a big difference there. Patterson is the brush off type.
he is.
Meanwhile, Sparks is the hey, come in and sit down type.
Yep. Let's see. Our good buddy Carter Wilhelm is Rep Lisa Dunnell's new LA, according to Gary Ride. So Jody Wilhelm's son, Carter, and he's a good guy. If you guys haven't met him, you got to meet him sometime. You'll see him. You'll be able to see him.
He's
in
a
Lisa.
character.
He's a character. He's just an all-around good guy. Very smart, hard worker, great sense of humor. So actually, it takes a lot for someone to put up with my kind of sense of humor, and he put up with me in Bill's office quite a bit. So actually, I got to give him kudos for that. Because a lot of times I'm just sitting in a chair right across from him, just trying to make him laugh, with really, really esoteric humor, and he sits there and he takes it, So most people are like, "Hey, Pat, just go away. Aren't you here for a reason or something?" But I was waiting for a meeting with Bill, so that's the reason why I was sitting there. But that was fun. Let's see. Okay, infamous John Wick, Voodoo Queen. I want one from the infamous investigation. Regular goldbacks are easy to buy. They're talking about money medals. Okay, you guys were having an internal conversation here about something. Okay, does anyone have anything else for us tonight? I'm thinking about wrapping it up and just making it an hour show. I do have to get up early. I do have to work tomorrow, unfortunately. I will try to be home in time. This is my solemn vow. I will try to be home in time to co-host with Sam tomorrow night. But I can't make that promise at this time. I'm going to try to, though. And Sam didn't even mention it. He's got another guest on after Justin Sparks, and I can't remember who. But yeah, he's got 2 guests tomorrow night, so he's jam-packed. And I do believe it's the first interview Sparks will have on the radio after announcing that he's running for the speakership. So that'll be his first interview. Will be with our very own Sam Britton with Missouri Liberty Radio, good friend of the Missouri Freedom Initiative. Okay. M. Gabriel says, question above. I'm looking. Question.
And I do have one of the infamous goldbacks.
Oh, yep. I've got one here too. In fact, I see my silver, but okay. Question above. M. Gabriel said, who is the best rep to talk about submitting a rewritten Second Amendment Preservation Act? Actually, I don't know that that's really necessary because I think something's in motion right now. We're not ready to talk about, but I think within a week or 2 weeks, we'll be ready to talk about. So that is being dealt with right now by good, very, very good, very, very smart, very, very Second Amendment people. So we're in good hands, M. Gabriel. We're in good hands. And that's kind of outside of the forte of the Missouri Freedom Initiative because we don't do much with court. Ron Calzone deals with court. Dave Rowlands deals with court. Aaron Dorr deals with court. The Missouri Freedom Initiative, we're really more on the legislative side of things, not on the court side of things. Okay, so we got that one. Okay, 2A all day, says Agerizer. I agree with you. Let's see. John Wick says, sorry for the late question. Would Sparks need a loyal staff and team ready to run the speaker's office? Well, yes, he would if he gets it. How many people would that entail? I have heard it's 5 people. There's 5 people in the speaker's office generally. I think it's a staff of 7, but I'm not sure 2 of them are actually in the office. They might be in other offices. So the House Speaker has the largest staff out of any representative in the House of Representatives in Missouri, and the floor leader has the second largest staff. So, and the floor leader, I think, has 3 people. I think that's right. Yeah, 3 for floor, and 5. If Plocker's office had 5. You can identify 5 people working in that office, but of course, I didn't get to go there much, the last year or so. He doesn't like me for some reason. I think I'm a likable guy. I think if Plocker and I sat down and had a beer, I think we could probably get along.
I mean, it kind of cost him, $800,000 in fraudulent money. So, I mean,
Oops.
oops.
Oh, Tom Mart says, I had Calzone on KSGF on Friday. As I had all 3 hours, Moon was on hour 1 and Calzone on hour 2. And we discussed Amendment 3, organized by Ron Calzone, because Ron Calzone is working on that too. Let's see. Triple Tony says, no, don't have a beer with Blocker. He's pure evil. Well, yeah, there is that. He could slip something in my drink or something. You never know.
Have you seen on Facebook? I have to find it now. Hang on. Sorry.
What did he do?
He's going by his, shoot, now I can't find it. His real first name. I want to say it's something like Daryl.
Yeah.
Darren. It's like he's trying to reinvent himself or hide. I'm not sure.
That's his Facebook profile. He's done that for a while. It's Daryl Dean is what he goes.
Yeah, but I'm just like, but I just, at first when I saw it, we only had like a few mutual friends, and now his mutual friends are, anyway, I didn't know if that was a new one he had set up. I just found it amusing.
I just had a thought based on that statement, Catherine. What if, and it's just a hypothetical, it's never going to happen. What if Johnathan Patterson changes his gender and becomes the very first Asian woman to head up the Missouri House of Representatives? What if?
Oh, Lord.
Do you think? I don't want to think about that one.
Well,
I don't want to think about that one.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
I don't even want to see. I don't want that picture in my head. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm sorry. I just thought. Well, hey, Patterson, I'm trying to help you out, bud. Here, if you want all the votes, the Democrats love women. They love Asians. I mean, I'm just saying that's an easy choice. And by the way, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
I was just thinking that with the popularity of Kennedy's MAHA movement, the Make America Healthy Again movement, that we really need to work on some food freedom legislation in Missouri State.
Yes.
Yep. In fact, maybe it's time that we take a very close look at that. That we would have to have some meetings over on the wording. But I'll tell you what, the template that I'm using came direct from the 10th Amendment Center, and I believe it was written by Mike Mahari. And so that's the template I have worked with, and I have it. Actually, I have it here in my office. So I had that pre-ready to go for about a year now. But maybe it's time to dust it off and actually shop it.
I love that.
Yep.
The Arkansas bill is pretty darn good, and their raw milk law is outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. So I meant that.
I got some goats about to give birth. I'm going to be milking.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Anybody wants goat milk?
Yep. So, but that's actually a good point. Maybe it's time that we at least shop it for getting some interest in, basically in the Missouri legislature on the Food Freedom Act. By the way, gang, that's it's a complex bill, but basically what it does is it kind of gets the FDA out of your state for food production. That's what the Food Freedom Act, and by the way, it does a lot of stuff. There's a lot of moving parts. That's the easiest way to describe it, is get the FDA regulations out of your state for food and food production. So, and that's, essentially what they were talking about in Arkansas, but not just Arkansas. Other states have moved in parts of it. Like, for instance, when you hear states going to the, farmers being able to sell raw milk direct to consumers, that's actually part of the Food Freedom Act. That's actually just a small part of it, but it's one of the very popular items. And
I looked it up in Missouri, because I was curious, since I'll have raw goat milk, that in Missouri you can sell direct to consumer, like they would have to come to my farm or I would take it to them without having to have a permit.
Okay.
But I couldn't sell it like at a farmer's market or something like that.
And you probably couldn't sell it in the Capitol without paying some kind of money to the HRCC, I imagine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then I get the jelly.
Missouri's cottage food laws are actually pretty good. Anything that's baked or canned can be sold out of the home.
Yep.
Ironically enough.
A lot of it has to do with there can't be like a third, some things can't be done at a farmer's market or some other location, but you could sell directly from your farm or take it directly to the consumer.
I think if it's canned or baked, though, you can sell it at a farmer's market.
Yes, certain things. I had to look it up. I'm sorry we're getting off track, but yeah, you're right. There are certain canned goods that you can sell.
Like if you
baked goods, yes.
If you canned the milk,
that's right.
Oh, there you go. It's pasteurized, obviously, at this point because you canned it.
There's another comment here from the Morkster. If Dems are included in this selection, it's going to be very, very hard for Justin. We are fighting a two-headed monster. That is correct. Actually, I don't want to give anyone any illusions here that this is an easy-peasy, lemon-squeezy operation for Justin Sparks. It is not. This is going to be tough, and it's really up to us to actually help him. I mean, I don't know how, going around and talking to reps is one thing. If Justin Sparks goes around and is asking for support, that's one thing. What this is going to take, though, is a massive effort of the grassroots to actually start calling their reps and giving them reasons to vote for Justin Sparks, or at the very least, talking about the HRCC, because they know exactly what you're talking about when you're talking about the HRCC. They might be, you know what? You call them on the phone and you start talking about all the things you've heard about the HRCC, they'll probably start squirming in their seat a little bit uncomfortable with the conversation, because that's the one they don't want to have. And in fact, when you call your rep, and by the way, don't tell them I told you to say this, because you say whatever you want. It's your conversation with your rep. Always be respectful when you talk to your politicians, though. But you might ask them, how much was written on the envelope that was put on your desk? Ask your rep that. I'm going to ask my rep, Bob Titus, that when I call him up. I'm going to ask him how much was what was written on the envelope for his suggested donation to the HRCC. Feel free to actually ask your rep that question.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, and by the way, no one is going to tell you that's not true, because it's out. It's been out for, Catherine, correct me if I'm wrong here, isn't it about 4 years we pretty much have been able to consider that fact rather than just a rumor?
Yeah, we have. And then I think there was that town hall that you and John Williams were at.
Yep.
Some state reps also said, yeah, that's how it works.
Yep. So, I mean, reps are talking about it, not necessarily in their office, but when you get them outside the office or something, they're pretty open about it. So, yes, this is a hard thing for Justin to do, not only because he's going up against the monstrous system, but because, the fact of the matter is the Dems like Patterson, and they're 1/3 of the legislature. The Dems are most likely going to vote for Patterson. I don't think the Dems are putting anyone up. I haven't heard anything. Catherine, have you heard if the Dems are putting up someone for speaker?
No, I haven't heard anything.
Yep, I haven't either. I doubt they are. So
there'll probably be a portion of them, however small it may be, that will abstain from the vote.
That's possible, but historically, if you go back for the last 6 years, they don't. They do vote.
Yeah.
And that's because they, like, for instance, when they voted for Plocker, it was literally because there was nothing else they could do. No one was running against him, and they were hoping to gain favor with him. So, I mean, and this is another thing, too. I would like, when I talk to my rep, Bob Titus, I'm going to ask him, hey, when you were asked to vote yes for Plocker and the House rules, were you promised anything? And if so, did you get what you were promised? Ask that of your reps. That's a very important question to ask them, too. By the way, I'll put this all together in a big, chunky email as soon as I get that list. Like I said, some intrepid individual is working very hard to put together the list that we all need right now. Historically, at least the last 3 cycles, I have created that list. And I'm grateful to not have to do it. I don't have the time to do it right now anyway. Like I said, it takes me about 2 days to get that done every 2 years. So at any rate, and by the way, that list is only good for 2 months. So you're putting in 2 days of work for something that's literally has an expiration date of 2 months. Because once they are sworn in, they're right there on the House website, and their email address and their phone numbers will change again. And then you have to go back to your database and change them again. So, okay, Misty Atkinson says, Dems are frustrated with the rules, though. We could get the Dems to vote for Sparks if the rules allowed their legislation to actually be heard in committee. So that's a good thing. Sparks could actually say to them, let's change the rules. Let's make it
And she's
favorable.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, Pat. I didn't mean to interrupt, but was
you do
it?
You do it. You go
Was
ahead.
it 2022, 23, and they were making all those changes? And I remember Kirby and I and some others, we talked to Representative Peter Meredith, and they were really upset about some of the rules changes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I heard that too. And
Yeah.
I even remember 2 Democrats that I talked to face to face that told me they were downright. In fact, the word that one of them used was, "I'm pissed off."
That's a good point, Misty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Misty, thank you for that. And so at any rate, that's something that should be brought to Justin's attention tomorrow night when he is live at Missouri Liberty Radio for, I don't know, basically if I can be a part of that or not. But I would, if I'm not there, someone please call in and say, what can be done to convince the Dems to vote for you? Can you change the rules so that their legislation can be heard in committees and actually go to the floor for a vote? And I'm pretty sure Justin Sparks actually likes a lot of the Democrats up there. I've seen him talk to lots of them. So he gets along with them just fine. It's not like they're holding crosses up to each other in the hallway or anything like you'll find with some of them up there. So, hey, by the way, you know what? I know a lot of politicians watch us, and a lot of them don't even say they do. Guys, I joke a lot. So it's not like I'm trying to convince people you guys are running around with crucifixes like with vampires up at the Capitol.
They're wearing necklaces of garlic.
That's correct. They use garlic. They are so much more subtle than the crucifix. It's garlic, holy water. So that's exactly what they do up there. They're not holding up crucifixes. So, yep. Let's see. And John Wick says, what's the Missouri rules on recalling a speaker? I don't know the answer to that question.
I'm pretty sure it's
we have had lots of speakers that have been taken out, to be sure, over the years. We have a long history of that.
I think it's like 2/3 of the House has to call for that vote to change the speaker and change the rules or something.
It's something like that. It's gonna have to be something like that. It's not a 50+1 like it is to change our Constitution. I guarantee you that. Even though these guys won't do IP reform. I'll tell you what, that'd be a really great thing to go to the legislature and say is, hey guys, since you guys don't want IP reform done, you like that 50+1? Let's make it 50+1 to remove the Speaker of the House in the state of Missouri. Let's do a bill to do that. Would you guys get behind that bill? And I'm sure they're all going to say, yeah, that's a great idea. You know, and of course they're not. I'm joking. They're not going to like that idea at all. They like that idea for changing the Constitution, many of them, but they don't like that for changing leadership. Okay. Let's see. Tom Martz is saying Missouri Revised Statute Section 77.650. So apparently that's where you recall your speaker. So thank you, Tom. So Tom probably didn't even have to look that up. Tom is a brainiac.
Yeah, that's how he is there.
Yep.
He memorizes all this stuff. I still have to go look it up when I go to reference things.
Yeah. Let's see. Kristen, I'm going to read something Kristen said. A friend without YouTube account wanted me to post. The HRCC hasn't given one damn dime to the Kansas City area for 30+ years. If that were true, STL and KC would be red, not blue. Kristen, I tried to give my point of view on that statement that someone had said here. Hang on, I'm going to read it again. I need to find it. Okay, it was Terry Bell. Terry Bell said, my rep says money from the HRCC goes to conservative candidates in Dem areas. That's so cute. Yeah, I assure you, Terry Bell, that is not happening. They're using it against Republicans they don't like. In other words, the truly conservative ones that are constitutional. And what they do is they use that money, and I said I would mention a little bit, they use the money to actually fund someone that they pick to actually campaign against someone in a primary that they don't want in the legislature anymore. That's what they do with the money. So they keep getting more and more rhinos and corporatists in the Republican Party, and everyone's scratching their heads going, how is this happening? Well, you just found out how it happened. I just told you.
Well, if you also think about the executive director, former executive director, Johnathan Ratliff, is part of Palm Strategic, which was campaign consulting And their latest one, now I've forgotten her name, something Beard. She was with, oh, now I can't think of it either. Atlas, no.
Axiom.
Axiom.
Yeah, Axiom.
Yes. So they're putting in executive directors in the HRCC that have experience with campaigning and getting candidates in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it all makes sense.
Yep.
Mm.
So at any rate, that's the dirty secret about the HRCC. And also, HRCC is very much like Fight Club up in Jefferson City. No one really wants to talk about it, all right? So, but I think that when you call your reps and you start talking about this race between Sparks and Patterson, I think you should bring up the HRCC and bring up, or actually ask them, how much money did the HRCC put in the envelope as a recommended donation for you to give them? What did your envelope say? How much money are they requesting? You're a constituent. You have every right to be able to ask that question, even though that's supposed to be between them and the HRCC. So correct me if I'm wrong, anyone on this, but I think, basically keeping the HRCC in the dark recesses of the Republican Party where no one talks about it, like Fight Club up in Jefferson City or the Speakeasy. There's lots of things you're not supposed to be speaking about up in Jeff City. Mm-hmm. But these are things that we as the constituents have a right to know about. And by the way, Fight Club is fun. So I'm not going to talk about it, though, because we're not supposed to be talking about Fight Club. But the Speakeasy is something that we should be talking about more. And maybe in the coming weeks, we can talk more about the Speakeasy and some of the stories that come out of Scott Fawn's private bar up in Jefferson City. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. Terry Bell says he's politicking. Yeah, that's most likely correct. The person who told you that the HRCC is using their money for down ballot Republicans and Democratic districts. Yeah, that just ain't the case. Trust me. All right, gang. Well, I think that's about it. And as I said, I have to get up early tomorrow. Unfortunately, I got to work. On a Sunday, and everything. But I got to get some of this work off my plate. I'm going to give you guys advance notice right away. We will have a live stream next week, but we won't have one the following week. So Thanksgiving weekend, which is actually one of our poorest attended live streams we've ever done, is the Thanksgiving one. We actually get more people on Christmas. So yeah, for the Thanksgiving weekend, there will not be a live stream. I will be out of town. But we are definitely having one next week. And before next week, we should have a whole bunch of new news for you and a whole bunch of data, and also all the information that you need to call your rep and ask them with a straight face to say, it's time for Sparks. Patterson had floor leadership for a while. Let's talk about that. And let's talk about how much money the HRCC is asking from you. And we'll also have all the names, telephone numbers, and email addresses for all the new reps, as well as the existing ones. We'll have that ready to go for you as well. And by the way, for those of you watching, I want to thank you for spending your last hour and it looks like 15, 16, 17 minutes with us. It's a Saturday night. An hour and 17 minutes, you might as well be talking about an ounce of gold on a Saturday night, right? So I want to thank you for spending it with us to educate yourselves and to find out what's going on in the state of Missouri so you can actually be a much more effective and vocal activist with your state legislature. And remember now, if your state senator and your state representative do not know your name, that is your fault. That is not their fault. It's your responsibility to make sure that they know who you are, they know what your name is, and it's your responsibility to keep in touch with them on important legislative issues in your state, whether you're in Missouri or all the way out in Hawaii. It doesn't matter. It's all up to you, gang. You're seeing what we're trying to do here in the state of Missouri. The grassroots activists are activating to rally support around Sparks for the speakership position. And I think basically it'd be a really good idea for everyone to tune in tomorrow night to listen to him live and to call him live while he is on with Sam Britton on Missouri Liberty Radio. That's it for now, gang. I want to thank you again for joining us. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And most of all, may God bless each and every one of you and every member of your family with good health and with wisdom and with courage. You take care, gang.